Anyways, today we got topics. What are we going to talk about? Fun stuff, hopefully. Now, I'm going to bore you guys to death. That is the plan. Sean, thank you for showing up for a few minutes. I appreciate it, bud. Actually, Sean, I feel like you would be the guy to talk to about the first topic I have today. So, Dune is being rebooted. If you're not familiar, Dune is an epic sci-fi novel from sometime. I actually don't know. Sometime in the 1900s. I think that's a good guess. Let's just go with 1900s sometime. Anyways, it was a movie made back in like 84. It was a flop. But Denis Villeneuve, or Villeneuve, sorry. I get his name wrong every single time. David, shout out, buddy. Sorry I missed you, man. So many people are watching. I just can't keep track of everyone. Anyways, Denis Villeneuve, he's the guy who recently directed Arrival, great movie, and did Sicario, another great movie. So super excited that he is getting this Dune reboot. If you're not familiar, basically Dune is an epic sci-fi novel by Frank Herbert, again, sometime in the 1900s. And basically considers one of the best sci-fi novels of all time, and probably one of the most popular ones as well, just based on sales and things like that. So I'm not a connoisseur of books or reading, and as far as I can tell, the plot is fairly complicated. So I'm going to try to give you a quick synopsis. So break it down. Basically, to me, it seems like it's Game of Thrones in space, but probably with less death and less of the boobles. So that's my synopsis. So a little more in depth, it's about future humanity, well into the future. We've actually gotten away from computers just because of our intelligence has become that great. There's a trade going on of a rare spice that helps enhance our intelligence, enhance our life expectancy and things like that. And there's fighting over this spice and different things like that. There's major houses. There's a lot of political conflict, different things of that nature. So you might be thinking, why is this so popular? It sounds like the first episode of Star Wars and stuff like that, just overly political and not super interesting. Sorry, I'm laughing at stuff Boston's writing. Anyways, sounds super political. So why does that sound interesting? Well, two reasons. Like I mentioned, Denis Villeneuve is directing. I've really enjoyed his stuff. He's coming out with another movie again this year, the Blade Runner reboot. If you haven't seen his stuff, Arrival was one of my favorite movies of last year. I think it broke the top 3. And then actually Sicario was a great movie that I didn't see right away, but ended up watching later. Awesome movie about the drug trade and drug trafficking from Mexico into the US. So relevant too. Fun. Anyways, that's one reason I'm super excited about it, is because of the director, and I really enjoy his vision. The second thing is something that I don't feel like we've seen much of in Hollywood, and it's just epic space novellas or epic space operas, whatever you want to call it. Just epic space sagas where you can really develop multiple movies over multiple planets, multiple people, different things like that. So that is something that I'm very much interested in, is seeing these characters in this environment and multiple different people, multiple creatures, things, places, locations, whatever. So I'm always for that stuff. Space is infinite, time's infinite. We can do so much within those times. Right, Dan? Interstellar was baller because you went to multiple planets, and they did really well with things like the physics of space and time travel and things like that. Star Trek's another good one. I think they need to delve more into different planets and things like that as well. So it does happen, but I feel like it doesn't happen as much as we probably should, just because, like I said, time and space are infinite. You can literally imagine whatever you want and do it, put it out there. So that's what I'm really excited about. So in regards to that's what I'm excited about, Dune. Sorry, I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again. Anyways, let's move on to topic number 2. Hope you guys like zombies. I like zombies. So Bad Robot and J.J. Abrams is producing a movie from a director you've never heard of, and they have actually not cast anyone, but it's called Overlord, which is a baller name. I love it. The story follows two paratroopers who are caught behind enemy lines after their plane crashes on a mission to destroy a German radio tower in a small town outside of Normandy during the D-Day invasion. Makes sense. After reaching their target, the two paratroopers come to realize that besides fighting off Nazi soldiers, they also must combat against supernatural forces that are a result of a secret Nazi experiment. Now, honestly, you would have had me with just the first half of that. I'd been like, fantastic, great. Did you see Band of Brothers? Did you see Saving Private Ryan? Awesome, awesome movies. Now, J.J. Abrams wasn't involved in either of those, but that being said, I have a lot of faith in what he does and what he has done, so I'm super excited to see this. A lot of people may be thinking, you know, I'm really sick of the zombie stuff and how it's played out. We got too much zombie stuff, we got too much vampire stuff, we got too many werewolves going around. I'm sick of it. I understand there is a lot of that stuff going around. That being said, I'm actually still a big fan of the zombie story when it's done well. I'm not really a big fan of the horror genre and let's do Night of the Living Dead and things like that. I don't really care. I don't find The Walking Dead and stuff like that. The Walking Dead, the show. Now I'm just thinking in other terms of zombie lingo. Biters. Anyways, so I don't mind it when it's a plot device in regards to like a thriller or suspense. But in horror, it kind of bothers me. Just because I don't think it's solid enough to actually develop a whole movie around. Warm Bodies was great, Dan. I do agree. That was a great movie. But the plot was around the love story, not around the zombies. And it was just basically Romeo and Juliet, except Romeo was a zombie. So another thing I really like about this is I really like the idea of Nazi experiment. Now I've read books, at least one. Yeah. So Darren, I've read one book if you're watching this, and seen other movies that have done the experiment thing. And I just really like that plot of we created something, most likely in this scenario, to actually be a combatant against the Nazis combating probably America in this regard, but it, you know, winding up turning against them or just a failed experiment that caused zombies. So I like that idea. Again, I have a lot of faith in J.J. Abrams. I'm very much interested to see, though, who they cast in this. Books are dumb. I agree with you, Soup. Why would I read a book when I can watch a movie that's got the same information in it? Come on, books. All right, so moving on to a next topic that's not as much news as it just is. I read an article and now I have an opinion about it. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is coming out, ranked as number 1 on my most anticipated movies list of this year, followed very, very closely by Star Wars. Anyways, the article is basically about the movie is going to be less about a focus on an antagonist as the driving the plot forward as much as it's going to be a focus on family building. So we kind of created this mishmash of a family in the first one, and now they're really kind of expanding that family in Guardians Volume 2 with Yondu and some other characters, Mantis, etc. So that's going to be the primary tale of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And then I read something else about, and just this is general opinion, about Marvel has a villain problem. One, they keep killing off their villains, like, almost all the time, unless it's a good one like Loki. And even if they don't kill him off, good villains are few and far between in the Marvel Universe. So what do we do about this? Well, apparently Marvel basically says, we're not really going to do anything about this. We like that we focus on our heroes, not on our villains. We want that to be the focus. That being said, I do feel like they are building up to Thanos a little bit of, okay, this is going to be the actual guy. This is the guy. All those other people, those were just kind of cogs and little pieces of of just plot device, moving plots forward, things like that. But Thanos is going to be the guy. And so we'll probably get a little more plot development with him and storytelling and different things like that. But it does bother me a little bit when I can literally, out of all of the movies, you got Winter Soldier, Loki, and I would say Ronan from Guardians Volume 1 are like your three best guys. Literally everyone in the Iron Man movies. If you can even, can everyone name all of them? One was Obadiah Stane. I had to look that one up to get the name. Two was Whiplash and sort of Hammer, but not really. Whiplash was awful. And then three was Aldrich Killian and Mandarin, who's supposed to be really cool, but wasn't. And going down the list, Red Skull was underwhelming in the first Captain America. Both of Thor had... Loki's obviously cool, but Thor 2 had the Dark Elves. That was blah. Ronan was not lame, David. He was the best. He hammered that guy's face. That was awesome. So yeah. So I'm just curious about like what is the motivation behind it? Like I said, they're primarily doing this just to develop so they can focus on the heroes. But you look at like Marvel shows on Netflix. Netflix has awesome villains. You know, what's his face from Jessica Jones was awesome. I can't remember his name. Kingpin, awesome villain. Maybe one of my favorites. Not Diamondback. The other guy. He was really cool. Can't remember names. Somebody give me his name quickly. Go, go, go. All right. Anyways, rant over. I'm just basically saying, like, for me to really, really love Marvel movies, and I've really liked some of them, even loved like Civil War and Winter Soldier. Kilgrave was not the one. Kilgrave? He was Jessica Jones, wasn't he? Anyways, moving on. I was talking about the Luke Cage one. And for me to truly love a movie, though, I need a great villain. So Star Wars and Dark Knight are the two examples I'm going to give on that. I feel like I've spent too much time on this topic. Let's move on. Tomb Raider is being rebooted. What's this mean? It means whatever. We're going to get another video game movie is what it means. Now, out of all the video game movies that have ever been made, Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider, Cottonmouth, thank you, David. Cottonmouth is the guy I was thinking from Luke Cage. Anyways, Tomb Raider, the originals with Angelina Jolie, I didn't hate those, especially the first one. The second one was stupid, if I recall. I didn't hate those movies. So, that being said, I'm actually really excited for this because I think Tomb Raider, this new movie, can actually break the video game movies out of their basically horrible role of being terrible. That didn't make any sense, but I think people got it. So video game movies are historically very, very bad. It's because I think one of two things. It's like you either cater too much to the video game community and then you alienate the rest of the fans, or you cater too much to the fans and alienate the rest of the video game community that wanted the movie in the first place. So I think Tomb Raider is actually a good enough story to be told to keep the non-video game players interested while also keeping the video game players satisfied with the plot. I think Lara Croft herself is a great character. This movie is actually going to be based on the 2013 reboot of titled Tomb Raider. If you haven't played it, that's actually a really fantastic game, and it's got a decent storyline, and a storyline that if you add some more dialogue into and monologue and different things like that, I think can actually be a fairly solid movie. So if you're not familiar with it, obviously Lara Croft is a game started out on PlayStation 1, I believe, and has developed through now. We had a game released in, I want to say, late 2015 or early 2016 was the last one released. The Rise of the Tomb Raider, and it follows, like, think basically Indiana Jones, except a woman. And yeah, actually, that's a fairly good example. And she's English. So yeah, if you haven't seen the pictures, they've actually released some pictures. Her measurements are what I would call more normal. So if any guys out there are thinking like, hey, yeah, old style Lara Croft Tomb Raider, yeah, probably not. And so I'm excited about it just because of the fact that, like I said, you're going to get this mixture of actually a decent story with a good character in a video game movie that I think can actually break the mold of being crap. So looking forward to that. Finally, the thing I want to talk about last today is, what was your favorite Super Bowl? Not Super Bowl ad. What was your favorite trailer in the Super Bowl? And Noel, you think about that, and I'll be reading here if you guys want to post anything. Basically, I personally, you can do movies or television. I loved Stranger Things 2, season 2. Mostly because Stranger Things season 1 was one of the best television shows in 2016, and they're really building on what's going to happen now. So the Stranger Things 2 trailer, which I'll link below as well for the YouTube watchers if you want to check it out, it really builds on that idea of like, all right, is the upside down, what's happening with that? Is that just going to close off, or is that going to open up into some craziness? We're led to believe that we may be seeing kind of a mist type of a thing here, where these creatures, this dimension is leaking into our real world. At least it makes it seem that way with Will seeing kind of visions when he walks out of his door. So that's the thing. Do we know, are they visions, or is he actually seeing that in real life? I would think that would be a really cool place to go, is that we're starting to get creatures from this other dimension kind of leaking into our real world. And I'm just super excited to build on that. I love the characters. I'm not big into like, yeah, let's focus a show or movie around kids. But in this specific instance, I think it works extremely well. It does not take away from the show at all. If you haven't seen the first season of Stranger Things, I highly recommend it. So, super much looking forward to that. I got some people commenting. Another few, Pirates, Fate of the Furious, Ghost in the Shell, Transformers, Baywatch Life. The 52 times they showed commercials for Legion and Logan. Those are a few of them. Soup for Baywatch. Honestly, when I first saw that was going to be made, I was like, that was literally the sound I made at the time. Not super interested in that movie. Never saw the show. Not interested. That being said, this coming out, seeing that trailer, super funny. I will probably see it now in theaters. Lee, you said The Great Wall. It could just be an epic movie. It really could. But I don't think it's going to be a good movie. But I don't think that's what they're really shooting for. I just think they're shooting for just epic madness of action. That one almost broke my top 20 for the year, but it didn't quite make it. We'll see what happens with that. I know it's not getting the best ratings right now, but again, I don't think it's intended to be a great movie. I just think it's tended to be super entertaining. So, that's going to wrap it up for me. I went longer than I wanted to, which is funny because I felt like I didn't have much to talk about when I started this. But anyways, thank you guys very much for showing up. I appreciate it. You can catch me here again on Tuesdays. I'll try to do this every Tuesday around 7:30 p.m. You can also check out our website, cheapshotcinema.com, for other videos and content. Also, check out our YouTube page. If you're watching me on Facebook, you can just go our YouTube, Cheap Shot Cinema, on Facebook and Twitter, Cheap Shot Cinema. Thank you very much for watching.